The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume. If we defeat the previous question, Republicans will amend the rule to allow the House to consider an amendment that would stop the IRS from hiring 87,000 new agents to target and harass lower-income Americans. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of the amendment into the record along with extraneous material immediately prior to the vote on the previous question. Here to explain the amendment is Representative Adrian Smith of Nebraska, and I yield 3 minutes to Representative Smith.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. I thank my colleague from Texas for the time, and as he pointed out, if we defeat the previous question, I will move to amend the rule to make in order my amendment to strike funding for IRS enforcement activities. The administration's own Treasury Department has said this funding would be used to hire 87,000 new IRS agents. This has been verified. Agents, we know, will be focused on targeting American families, small businesses, farmers, and ranchers with audits. Now, families and small businesses are struggling. That's no secret. Inflation is at 8.5%. Food and gas prices are at record highs. And despite this bill's name, economists, reasonable economists, agree it will do nearly nothing to actually reduce inflation, especially in the near term. Small business pessimism about costs and access to workers is at all-time highs, and more audits would only compound this misery. Estimates put the starting cost to a small business of being audited in the range of $10,000 to $75,000. Ridiculous. That is the last thing our small businesses need, the vast majority of whom follow the law. They're law-abiding individuals and law-abiding businesses. My amendment makes the following changes to the bill. It strikes the $45 billion for enforcement activities, which include legal and litigation support, digital asset monitoring, and enforcing criminal statutes. Those are audit activities. It strikes $25 billion for operation support, which includes rent payments, printing, postage, and other administrative activities to support the new auditors. It also strikes $104 million for the Office of Tax Policy at IRS, the office which creates new tax regulations. It strikes $153 million for the U.S. Tax Court, where cases related to these new audits would be heard. And it strikes $50 million for Treasury to implement these changes. Now let me tell you what this amendment would not do. This amendment leaves in place $3.2 billion for taxpayer services to help address the backlog of nearly 20 million unprocessed returns. We agree this backlog is a serious problem and taxpayers need better customer service. It leaves in place $4.8 billion for badly needed IRS systems modernization. According to CBO, the bill would still reduce the deficit if we adopt this amendment while leaving every other provision of the package intact. Unless there are Senate Democrats who believe auditing families and small businesses is the single most important part of this bill, they should have no problem expeditiously passing it again. And because we would only make in order this one single amendment if we defeat the previous question, it will only delay final passage of the bill by about 20 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I have many serious concerns about this bill, and the rule makes an order, which I will discuss later. I find it particularly troubling that Democrats think auditing thousands more American families and small businesses is a solution to inflation. Let's defeat the previous question and help assure law-abiding Americans that the IRS isn't going to show up at their door.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Their struggles. I yield back.